Hello guys, how we doing today?
Great.
Great, awesome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Liz Hurd.
Nice to meet you, Liz. This is Hanombi Global Network, and we're here to have a little bit of discussion. And in particular, we're thinking of starting off with the Biden infrastructure bill. How significant do you think it is for New York, and how significant you think it is for the nation as a whole?
Yes, okay. I mean, although I'm a New York resident, I don't really know much about how the infrastructure bill has impacted New York.
Right.
You know more about it than I do.
Right. Yeah, as we've discussed.
But
I want to say significantly it has.
it has.
Yeah.
Because because of your job, right?
Yeah.
But
And because of LaGuardia Airport. It's a beautiful place. I don't know how long you've been in New York, but prior to what it is now, okay, so you remember LaGuardia Airport. So I got to give that to Biden. There's no way anyone can dispute his impact and the actual renovation.
So how much was that legislation? How much was it, used for that project?
I don't know the specifics about that particular, but I can see. Practically, I can see the difference,
Yes.
And he was one of the first guys who were actually talking about it.
Yes.
And I must precede this by saying, he's not necessarily my favorite guy, put it that way, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's certain things politically I think we have to be intellectually honest about.
Right. I totally agree with that. And I don't agree with everything that Biden promotes or argues for, his position on Israel especially. Or with Harris either. I think she's a centrist really.
Right.
And I'm more to the left. But obviously, as you've heard many people say, I'm sure it would be better to have Harris than Trump. Way better.
Okay, and why do you think people think that is the case?
Why do people think what's the case?
That it would be better to have a Harris presidency than
Trump is unpredictable. It's interesting. I was talking to a couple friends from Brazil yesterday, and they said two different things about Trump. And one was Trump encourages sort of models authoritative dictator-type leadership in other countries. Brazil,
Right.
to the point Bolsonaro came into power, sort of other details of Trump. But the other person I was talking to said, well, Trump's isolationist.
Sorry. Yeah, this might help you a little better. Yeah.
Trump is an isolationist, a nationalist, and maybe that will mean some withdrawal from the war in Israel.
Right. So you just.
But my take on that is that you can't trust anything Trump says.
Okay.
He's totally going to be opportunistic. I mean, any politician does this, right?
Absolutely, it's the nature of politics.
Yes. But Trump is frighteningly disconnected from sort of the larger picture, right?
Right.
What looks good just for the moment if you can get away with it.
Right.
That's what's terrifying about Trump in my mind.
So you're thinking dictator stuff, and you just think that there's some element of unpredictability?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, the people call him a fascist and saying he's a dictator and democracy is invader. I'm a little cynical about that. I think our political structure is pretty strong. Our
Absolutely, I agree.
democracy is strong, yeah.
I totally agree.
So sometimes I get impatient with that, sort of awfulizing rhetoric. But nevertheless, I think it's true that if Trump comes into power, it will not be good for our domestic politics or our
Foreign policy.
politics, yeah.
So what do you say to people who say that pre-2020 there was relative peace in the Middle East, and especially under his administration? What do you say to them? What was responsible for that?
I feel like it doesn't have much to do with what the U.S. is doing. I think
Right.
it's about Middle East politics, and it's been ongoing for decades and decades. This is not a problem that came into existence in 2020. It's not going to go away quickly.
Right.
It's like, let's look at the bigger picture.
Right.
Why blame the Biden administration?
Well, I don't think it's blame, but I'm just saying, is it coincidental?
Well,
Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that the United States is capable of showing leadership internationally and have the power to impact what's going on around the world?
That's a really big question.
Got the power, but is it wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think it's not wise to get involved in other?
Well, I just think that a lot of times what we get involved in, we don't actually know what we're doing, and we end up supporting leaders and situations that aren't
Not in our best interest?
beneficial. Not in the best interest of the world.
Okay. So you're sort of like Trump in the sense of, let's just take care of America, concern ourselves with, domestic policies
No, but I would have very different principles of engagement than either Trump or
right.
possibly by,
So you sort of go a middle ground.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like the positions that we've been upholding are basically capitalist profiteering positions, and I don't think that's really a viable option in the long haul if we plan to survive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of...
Sounds reasonable.
I mean, I would add to that the U.S. is a geopolitical power.
Right.
And I agree that usually the profit motive is behind a lot of actions of the U.S., but also...
But I think that's the way the world works, right?
It is the way the world works, that's true. But also, like the balance of power, the global balance of power, it's like the U.S. can't just step away from that.
Absolutely not, because somebody will fill the void, right?
It is what it is. Yes, somebody will fill the void. And, Taiwan will go to China.
Right.
That may be inevitable anyway, but I would be sad about that. Taiwan's a wonderful country. There's a lot of different reasons why Taiwan should stay independent in my own opinion. But I have a lot of students from mainland China, and they see it totally different.
Right.
They see Taiwan as part of mainland China.
Right.
So, anyway, my point is that the United States can't simply step away from that position. And if they do,
And it can't simply dictate a position.
no, it can't.
Right.
Somehow what...
And is that a middle ground, or is that just like dealing with reality?
Right.
Is it just like this is what is? So let's be very careful about what we do.
Right. So, do you believe that any of the political candidates have made a compelling argument as to why you should vote for them?
Well,
Are you convinced by either? Or?
although I'm convinced that it's better to have a sane and thoughtful candidate than a kind of raving lunatic.
Right, and I assume that you're referring to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think that...
Well, I'll tell you this though. Some may say that with all of that, him being unhinged, a raving lunatic, he's crazy. Some would say again, there was relative peace in the world during his administration, and post 2020, the world unraveled. The most death and destruction that has been seen on the planet within the last 60 years has been under this administration. I mean, we've seen a total unraveling of the Middle East. Some may say that they actually feel that we're closest to some sort of, final conflict. Put it that way. Do you think that's the case? And what do you say to people who say that?
I sort of agree with Liz that
Be here
it's
next
not
weekend, but also
that
on
these
Wednesday,
are
Friday, and then the Monday
conflicts
before election day.
Imperialist strivings that preceded
Right.
and sort of have nothing to do with our...
So you don't think we have any impact that we cannot influence what is happening? I mean, as a global power?
I don't think that Trump's friendship with Putin kept Putin from going into Ukraine.
Right. So you think it would have been done anyway? If let's say Trump had won the 2020 election, you think Putin would have still?
Would have done what he was going to do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there would
Okay. So you don't think? Well, of course, there's no allegiance in international politics,
Well,
but
I think Trump may feel allegiance.
you feel Trump feels?
I think Trump feels allegiance to people who flatter him.
You don't think it's a little bit? It's a little far fetched. It's quite a stretch to say that Trump has an allegiance to Putin.
Well,
I mean, come on, guys.
But he's very fond of being flattered.
Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And he might
Own him?
He might own him by money. He might own him by seeming to be a person who
Okay, man, let's see what you got.
prestige.
Right,
You know,
right,
like
right.
It's
He might own him by alluding to the size of his penis.
Oh my God.
Okay, I just put like a stitch.
So that's the thing, right? Size matters, right?
You know,
Politics.
Vladimir Putin, Arnold Palmer.
Okay. Oh, I heard something about that, but I didn't exactly know what they were talking about. I really, I didn't, yeah.
Yeah, he was at a rally.
Uh-huh.
I think he was at a rally, rambling on and on about how big Arnold Palmer is.
Oh my goodness. You serious? Did you actually say that?
Absolutely serious.
Oh, that's.
He didn't say it directly. He said he was talking about Arnold
His
Palmer.
manhood.
What a great golfer he was. What a man. And all those people that were in the locker room, and they came out and said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe it."
When they were in the shower, after they'd been in the shower, they would come out and say, "Oh my God."
So it's a thing to be looking at guys'
And you
manner
know-
during the
Yeah.
showers.
His
Is that a
hair
thing?
That well, Donald Trump thinks it is. And you know, or he thinks his followers think it is.
I mean,
I doubt it. They're supposed to be conservatives, right?
I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of people in it supporting him.
Right.
But yes,
And look at how famous he got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who got
Milton
famous?
Berle.
Oh, Milton Berle.
Milton
Oh, okay.
Berle.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
was mostly famous for comedy and drag. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I mean,
Well, you ladies are way more informed about penises than I am.
Humanities
Well, it's all
professors.
theoretical.
Right. Yeah.
we're just talking about public discourse.
Yeah,
That's
we
right,
kind of
yeah.
like shifted.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the actual
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. I didn't. I kind of saw something really quick on.
Yeah.
On the news. What do you say to? Let's divert a little. What do you say?
Please.
What do you say to people who say, well, in 2020, a lot of major media outlets actually supported Harris, and in this cycle, they've actually, took a back stand. Why do you think that is?
Is it true?
Well, I mean, we have WAPO, Washington
Yeah, but
Post.
It's not. Did you say? Yeah, but WAPO and the LA Times. It's not the editorial board.
Right.
It's not the editors. It's the owners.
Yeah.
Of the newspapers. So it's the people with money
Right.
are supporting Trump.
Oh, you think Bezos is supporting Trump?
Absolutely.
Oh, I doubt it.
Absolutely.
Jeff
Why else
Bezos?
He did. He's afraid. This is what people.
Oh no! Look at it. I mean, in 2020, he was outright
Yeah,
Democratic.
So why else would he say no? You can't. Because it came from him.
Right. That's what I heard.
He said you can't endorse presidential candidates.
Right.
So why would he say that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I have an opinion anyway.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be attacked if the asshole wins.
Right. And if you think it can work.
I love you, ladies. You guys have a flair with words.
If Trump puts tariffs on China, it will ruin Amazon. And Amazon.
So you think he's thinking about the possibility of a Trump presidency,
Yeah.
and he's hoping he can, yeah.
But I can't follow the reasoning there. If
Well, it's possible he's thinking, okay, well, if Trump wins, I can probably negotiate and have a conversation with him and say, look, I supported you. Can you just lay off the tariffs a bit?
I see.
Because it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt us.
I see.
Yeah? So that could be a motivation.
If he allows his newspaper to endorse Harris, then he won't have any room to negotiate.
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be yeah.
Okay, I just couldn't quite figure out the reasoning.
Well,
but now I understand.
Who knows what's going to happen? But
Right.
I mean, I do think I'm pained by the rhetoric of the liberal media. Just like it's painful for me to see the rhetoric of Fox News I see.
Well,
why
Fox
people-
News is not liberal. That's
no,
for sure.
No, it's on the right.
you're
but
pained
I'm
by
just
both.
both sides.
Oh, okay.
Like the rhetoric, the sort of like.
And what's causing that pain?
Overblown, fiery sometimes. Biased. It's biased.
Right.
But like I know, to expect that media is going to be unbiased.
Right.
Is not realistic.
But it's kind of weird because conservatives and Republicans say that the mainstream media is anti-Trump, anti-conservative, anti-Republican. What do you say to that?
More power to them. I mean, I've been annoyed by the New York Times. They've become more pro-Harris, and I think they did endorse her.
Yes.
But like up until now, it's been this sort of both sidesism that really is driving me crazy. It does. It irks me. Because in this case, it's like they're not two rational sides. They're a side that's participating in democracy, and there's a side that, if successful, that is fascist.
Yeah.
A side that has a plan, or the side that it's questionable whether they have a concept of a plan.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird because many have accused Harris of not having a plan. I mean, she's been on a lot of podcasts, and we're seeing, a lot of it has been disastrous, totally disastrous. I mean, I'm on YouTube, so if you look at the dislikes to likes, I'm talking about friendlies, podcasts that are friendlies. She went to Charlemagne the God, and you're talking about 3-to-1 ratio of dislikes to likes. That's crazy.
Liking or not dislike? What's the ratio?
Ratio of dislike to likes is like 3-to-1.
Yeah.
Dislike to likes.
Okay.
I think it's
The one about talk to your daddy or something like that, whatever that is called.
Yes.
Again, it's like 4-to-1. So, what do you think is responsible for that?
That's a good question.
Just chicken.
Is she's not, do you think I ask you this question. Do you believe that she has the experience for the job?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah?
absolutely.
I
Because some may say, Donald Trump has already been president, so he's...
I'm
What
thinking
effect?
the job is sort of like your job. Like, she's a project manager. She
Right.
doesn't have to know, and she doesn't really.
Well, you got to be able to lead and manage. And ultimately, you have to know the technicality of how things work. I didn't get to a project manager by just waking up one day and saying, I'm a project manager. I started off as a junior engineer.
But I think that's what she does have.
Right.
And I don't
she's
think
got the
Donald
tech-
Trump does.
You don't think he does?
I do not think
You don't think you have the
has
experience?
the experience. I don't think he has the knowledge. He's a press man. He's an entertainer. He doesn't think. He doesn't reason.
And he doesn't
He
manage
does talk.
peoples and teams
Okay.
and systems.
Here's my take on Trump. I've been watching the classic Western film, The Searchers, with
Right.
John Wayne,
Uh-huh.
and reading a book about the film. And Frank,
Sorry, man, my
right?
machine's getting
And he talks about Wayne sort of developing his star persona, and John Wayne became a certain amount of truth to that, but,
Right.
but I don't think it,
Even the unpredictability thing. The guy, Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, said that a leader should cultivate an air of unpredictability.
So do you?
That's Robert Greene. That's not me.
I don't care what the fuck he said.
But he wrote the treatise on 48 Laws of
So
Power.
what? So
No,
what?
no, no.
I don't
But
have
it's
to.
just making an argument. If you
Yeah,
agree with it or
but-
not. Do you use unpredictability as a project manager?
Well, no, that's a whole different skill set. Because our stuff is grounded in logic, reason. And that's why in our discipline, if a guy comes to work with you within the first week, you could know he's not going to make it. And I've seen it happen. He's out of there within the first week. You see what I'm saying? Because you either know what you know or you don't know what you know. And it's very easy to tell from your coworkers.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But cultivating an air of unpredictability has to do with intimidation.
Yes.
So your opponents cannot predict what you're going to do, which is a good thing in war and politics, right? You don't want to be predictable. in that sense.
I don't necessarily agree with you.
Right.
I don't accept that.
Right.
I think it works. It's a tactic that works,
but
Right.
I think it's
one that's
reprehensible.
Like you can't tell a guy that you can't tell the enemy that, hey, look, tomorrow at 10 a.m. I am going to attack you. Would you be ready?
Yes, exactly. This is a John Wayne persona, right?
But it turns everyone into an enemy. I mean, his leadership skills are premised upon cultivating a sense of the enemy within and the enemy without, and building fear.
Well, you know what?
In his power base.
Right.
And he's doing exactly the same things that Hitler did. Yes,
I am not going to go that far.
I would.
I am definitely.
I would.
I'm just not going to go that far.
I'm terrified.
you
of what
cannot
happens
use
in this country if he wins.
Hitler. You cannot, under no circumstances, use Hitler just so easily. I mean, come on. You just can't compare.
You can use Machiavelli. I can use.
Well, no. But I said it in the context of what Machiavelli said. But to say that someone is like Hitler, it's just really. It's really, it's not really a good thing.
That argument, although I would agree with you, I'm like a little tired of the fascism Nazi thing.
Yeah, that's just.
Whatever.
And Germany at the time was a democracy.
Right.
Keep that in mind. I mean, Germany was a democracy at that time. This guy was elected. So what do you say about
Yes,
well, and we're a democracy.
You see what I'm saying? So America's a different place. You just can't. I don't want to. My worst enemy, I'm not gonna liken them to Hitler. I mean, this is,
I feel like it could happen, but I feel like the fear mongering is in itself a bad motive.
Sorry, man.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing the
Getting messed
opposite
up.
of
I don't really know.
Yeah. I mean, there is fear mongering on both sides.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is the state of political affairs in America today.
Yeah.
And it's
Everybody says that the other guy is a really, really bad guy.
The state of political affairs is that we're talking about somebody's performance as in their campaign based upon likes and dislikes on YouTube is kind of very distressing to me.
Yeah, but that's the world we're living in.
Doing the liking and disliking, and are they actual people, or are they bots?
Okay, well, absolutely. Would you like to get a word in or something?
No, I want to hear this.
Oh yeah.
Do you mind?
Sure, absolutely.
No, because
What?
speaking
Yeah,
of.
of course.
Oh, you don't want to be on. Oh, okay. Oh, she just want to
I want to
listen.
make my point.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Finish with the John Wayne thing.
Yeah.
It's like I think that leadership style is effective. It works. What does it work toward? Like in Trump's case, I don't think he knows enough or he's not rational enough to make choices that will actually bring us any place good. That's
Right.
the problem I have.
And when you say good, what place? What do you? How do you feel about his impact on the economy?
Oh, I think that his ideas about the economy are totally wrong-headed.
Right. In particular, like, what are we talking about?
I mean, the tariffs.
Oh, the tariffs?
Yeah.
What some may say, to his favor, some may say that he implemented a lot of tariffs during his reign, and the Biden administration kept those tariffs on. So it must have been a good thing.
Tariffs are okay to a certain point, but like his idea is that's going to fix the economy, and it's just not. I don't
Yeah.
think that's the basis of like that solution.
Some may say that the economy was booming during his administration and only plummeted as a result of COVID. And some may also say that that was strategically done to sabotage the economy so that,
COVID?
No, the handling of it. I mean, remember what's happening in New York. And we have to agree that even in New York, there were many people who were fired. Totally fired during COVID, and they had to rehire them, and they had to pay them for time lost. So some may say that there was some sort of political motivation in the way COVID was handled throughout the country in order to sabotage the economy, because they knew that if Trump ran on a great economy, it would have been an absolute win for him in 2020. What do you say to that?
Look, the U.S. economy is probably the strongest one in the world today.
Right.
And that's because of how the Biden administration, to my mind, brought us out of the pandemic.
So you said the Biden administration brought us out of the
Biden administration brought us. They are the ones that brought us out of it. You know, I mean, when did the pandemic end? It didn't end until after Biden came into power.
Right. Right.
So that's my argument against that. But what people say when they say the economy is bad in the U.S. is that there's prices are up, people have gotten a lot of raises, and there's a good job thing. But it's like inflation happened, and like that's what just happened to me. I got a raise, I'm making more money. That's great, but inflation is eating away at it, right? And medical costs and child care, all these are real concerns for ordinary people. That's the problem. When people.
And how do you deal with that? Do you think the same policies that are currently in place by the Biden-Harris administration, do you think she's going to change anything that would actually alleviate those problems?
Better chance of the Democrats going for things like more child tax credit, better medical care for better, like that kind of stuff, addressing those big emotional, financial, economic costs,
climate,
education. These are, these are problems that I feel like the Democrats have a better chance
like
of doing.
things that are necessary.
And those things you think will stimulate the economy?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
You think it's a good idea to stimulate the economy?
Well,
Everybody does, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well,
maybe
we
not.
kind of
Could
overstimulated with under Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, right? Spent so much money, gave away so much free money that the economy got overheated.
That's true.
I mean, it's economics 101, right? And if there's too much supply, demand goes down. If there's too much demand, supply goes up. So people had tons of money, during COVID, stayed at home, did nothing, and then took that money, and there was just so much money to be spent that these guys say, there's so much money to be spent. Entrepreneurs decide, well, come, let's get that money. And then what happened? Price skyrocketed. And you had an overheated economy, right? So it's kind of not a good thing to give away a lot of money, right?
No,
Wow, that's a really strange description to me.
Well, that's what happened. That's absolutely what happened.
I think other things.
The economy got overheated. There was too much free money circulated.
You don't think the supply chain problems had anything to do with it?
Okay, man, you got to finish.
Well, partly, yeah, I agree. That could have that also had an impact.
Japan. I mean, I agree with you in some ways. Like we have the Pell Grants, federal money for people to go to school, which I was somebody who took up that. It's a great thing, but it might be one reason why higher education is so expensive now. So I don't know the answer.
It's a balancing act. Well, I'd like to say, guys, thank you so much, you ladies. Thank you for indulging me.
Didn't become expensive suddenly under the Biden administration.
No.
I'm sure this discussion is going to continue after we're done here. As I said, thank you so much. I appreciate having this discussion with you guys. And, it's very funny. Take care and, enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.